the steel hose can go anywhere. What I like about it is, because I don't know your demographic, and I'm sure your demographic can be all over the map. What I utilize it for is it can be as much a corrective fitness tool as it can be a strength and conditioning tool, right? It's like trying to teach people a hinge, and all they want to do is either squat or just collapse forward. So one of the things is, I think you all have a pretty good variety. Travis, do you have like 5s, 15s? What do you all go up to?
Yeah, so we have 10s, 15s, and 20s at most facilities. I mean, they may have a bigger number or less. Some have ordered more since we first got in our initial order. But we don't have any 5s. I saw that email come out today about 5s, but we don't have those.
Okay, I'm going to say one thing about the 5s, because I know as trainers, we kind of think of the bigger stuff. I mean, I'm just as guilty of that as anybody. But the 5s are outstanding because you can do a lot of conditioning stuff with them. And the grip, I also use it for a lot of my people that have problems with wrists, and I'll put it underneath at different angles on the floor. So it cuts down on that angle on the wrist, and they're loving that. So there's so many different things with the 5 you can do. And when I'm also teaching, because I teach a lot of golfers, I'm coaching a lot of golfers and just trying to teach them rotation through the T-spine and the hips. I utilize the 5, because just like you all do with, say it's overhead and you're doing pull aparts, or mentally think band pull aparts. So you're trying to get them into that scap J position, and they're staying strong with their upper body while you're getting them to move the lower body, and any type of upper body or lower body separation. So if I'm having them step back, pull that apart, do your rotation, squeeze back up and come back up. You could also do where you're trying to really open up the obliques, the lats, and those hip flexors here, pull it over, keep that right shoulder open and pull it back up. So they're really trying to control through the hips, but they got to have that spine stability up here. If you're doing a group class and you don't want all this equipment around, this is the huge thing with the Fitfighter. I can put people into pods, if you will, virtual pods, like little squares in different places in the room to give them some space. I will turn these into battle ropes. So everybody's forearm strength, you're going to get grip strength, you're going to get forearm strength, biceps, you're going to get all that. And they literally have to swing this just like it is, it's the battle ropes. Now, some people are going to say, oh my God, my wrists are not strong enough to do it. Well, then they just take the grip and go more in the middle. So it doesn't have as much load and pull. Okay. That tension is lightened up. So Travis is like, that's great, Carrie, because we don't have the 5s. But I just want to, I want to throw that in there because there's tons of stuff. And just thinking full body extensions, whipping it down, and your hands stay next to your hips. So they're doing a true hinge versus just collapsing way too far or squatting and they're here. So it's still a matter of controlling it and teaching people a swing. Sometimes, obviously, it's just bilateral first before you go unilateral. Even with this, sometimes they just get that 2-arm movement quicker than they do here.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, I am glad you showed that. I had a client the other day that continuously gets sick every time that she does the ropes. So I grabbed the water bottles that we were using virtual. I said, just do these instead. When you get to this stage, you don't have to. I mean, how many times are you going to throw up there and work out before you're not coming back, right? So I'm like, no, that's right. So maybe she could use something lighter like that, and then it would be even more challenging, but not the stimulation that she's getting from the ropes,
Yeah.
So, no,
and
good.
if you have more like the men, because some of the men will try to do 10s with me, but I'll ease up on that grip position. Okay. They won't get way to the end. They'll just kind of meet more in the middle. So you can do it with the 10s with your stronger clients. I also use it when I'm trying to work on them to grab, like, say, a skater jump. I do what I call a boxer skater jump. And pretty much, I would say 80% of mine can do this with the 10s, if not the 5s, where they have to explode on the first 2, and then you got to catch it and you punch. So it's 1, 2, 3, and they have to land it through the hip.
Cool.
Okay, so they're not landing it through the joint. So much you can do. I mean, clients love new gadgets. Am I wrong? I mean, anything that they can do that's new, they love it. And you all can still, you're obviously extremely talented with programming. So now you just add it into them. You could have something you just did 3 weeks ago, but it's completely different with if you're using a TRX or a barbell or steel hoses. The nice thing about this is it's the instability principle, right? Versus a dumbbell is fixed. Here, this buckshot that's inside here is going to move. Okay, it's going to change. And now the stabilizers are turned on. That's my favorite thing because especially my male clients, I think we all know sometimes we gotta, this can tell them to slow things down, and we don't always have to be the bad guy, like a squat. Take something as simple as a 15-pound steel hose. If they start collapsing the upper body on a squat, that's gonna happen.
Right.
So I call it, this is the candlestick hold. So they're down here at the bottom. And now when they go to squat, they've got to stay tall.
Yeah.
And slow it down. And it teaches them not to just drop. In other words, we all know that during the deceleration, that's when the injuries happen. But people they want to get lazy and they want to just drop. But if they do that, or like I had a right knee total replacement. I've got to make sure I'm still using that right hip. If I don't, and I'm pushing off the left, it's going to tell me. So this guy will tell on your clients. So it's as much an assessment tool and corrective tool as it is the strength. I do a lot of Z arms. So they're here. Actually, I like to have the part where the grommet is. I put that up by the head. Because that way, if I am doing the turtle, which they like to do the turtle, right?
Right.
We're not touching it anymore. Now, we always have a little bit of space with that natural curve in the lower lumbar, right? We just don't want to exaggerate it. You start seeing that much light, you know you're in trouble. So it's on my tailbone. I say, all right, maintain neutral spine and go into your hinge. I'm back because people want to do this, right? Or they want to go like that and then draw back up. And then you can take it into RDL. And then if you want to advance the RDL, make them go all the way up into a post-up. And that same thing, 20-pounders, act like you have your 20-pounder here. You do the RDL in the front. This is one of my favorites. Then they have to use their knee drive in the post-up.
Ah, very cool.
To drive it. So now we're getting that guy.
Yeah.
Right. And you got to really stabilize because now you got to load your pushing up.
These
So that's a fun thing. So if you have 3 exercises, I love doing like 3 circuits of 3 exercises. You you do one thing. So say we just do the first thing is just our RDL bilateral. Then when we come around again on that station, it'll be the single leg, each leg. And then you come back the next time, you got to do either the post up or the loaded post up. And so I'll do like a lower body, a core, and then an upper body focus. And then after they do the 3 rounds, we do some kind of cardio. On the cardio, it could be anything. It could be squats. It could be a burpee where they just go from here wide anterior raise. Can they control that? All right. Can they control their back? Are they using the lower body or are they just using this? You could take it all the way up, make them get all the way down almost into like a Frogger position. I always make them do the Froggers. That's one of my dynamic warm-ups. So they have to get back down to Frogger without, before they put the steel hose down, come back here, drop those hips back to Frogger here, go into a thruster. All right. Then you want to do single. This is always one of my favorites. You go from here, just get them used to this, right? Then hand it over because this is soft. They're not going to hurt themselves. Not like a dumbbell. God knows where we could end up in the gym there. Then you can let them toss it if they're showing that they can control their positioning.
Mhm.
Then another one I like is the Cossack squat
Mhm.
here. Now, guys, there's 1,000 different ways we can load that. You all know all this. I know that. But the Zercher hold, if you're limited, if you all only go up to 20, stack them up on your big boys. You're really strong women, you're strong boys. Zercher hold, get them into that cradle hold and make them control that.
Mhm.
So I might do the Cossack squats first. Then I'm going to make them work for it. They've got to go from here all the way up. Whoop. Till it's late in the day. I started at 5:30 this morning. I'm tired now. Up, post up, reverse lunge, post up, open up the hip, round it out, post up.
You know,
Hitting all planes of motion.
I got a quick question for you.
Yeah.
You got something in the background. It's kind of provoking my curiosity. I don't think that we've done much with the grommet hold, but I see you're already set up to do something with it back there with your bungee attached to it. What are some of the common things you're doing with that?
All right. So again, I talked to you, I do a lot of rotational sports athletes. So I'll get them into the classic plank with the drag. So I'm going to go this way so you all can see from the front. So this is, I'm right over top of the steel hose. It's behind the wrist. Here, pull all the way across. Now, you want to make it real advanced, come all the way over here.
Mm-hmm. Did she freeze or did I freeze her?
She's frozen.
Oh, okay. There for a sec, you froze.
Did I freeze?
Yeah, you
right
froze.
when you said make it real advanced. I don't know what stunt you did. Well, you froze, but it was, it was too much
of
for the
course
camera.
it's going to happen.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, isn't that the case? Okay. So what I did is you're just going to get further away from the anchor point. So I'm way over here and I got to pull it all the way across. Pause. The fun begins here because they got to return it in 5 seconds. They can't just let it go.
Oh, slow
all
return.
the way back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very cool.
The other thing, standing, you guys are making me sweat now. I like it. I
got you working.
I love it. So sideways facing, we're going to come out. We have a good bit of tension, and I'm going to do that lateral pull into rotational press.
Okay.
Now, again, the return is the fun part. Squeeze, control it all the way back out. So I'm hinging here, drive through this trail foot, pull it here, pivot through that trail hip, turn through the hip, spine stays neutral the whole time, all the way back.
I love that. Yeah, I love the focus on the return. Yeah. Wow.
On that. Then, guys, think of your bear crawls. This, you just line up, again, this part of the steel hose. You got the body of the steel hose, then the deck. They call this the deck, and that's where the grommet is. Put the grommet back at the base of the skull, like the deck is, and I'm here. Get those knees under the hips. Now, when they move, what don't we want to see? We don't want to see a rounded back, butts up in the air, or the rotation. Cam got it. Yeah. So here, can they do it? And what is the steel hose doing while they're doing it? Okay, you've got that one. I also like, speaking of the drag, get them in the quadruped. Let's get a little bit more quads. So let's get them in the quadruped position. Here, they have to turn it vertical, toss, bring it back, flatten it out. Drag, push, pull. Okay. You can also turn this into kick sits. Row.
Wow.
Row. Row. So that is a great one for the 10s. Yeah. 15 for your big boys. You can see I was struggling with that one a little bit. But do the 10s. But if you all think of how you do your programming, it's just make them earn their progression each time, but have fun with it, because then they see it all come together. And I just break down each piece. Supersets are great with the steel hose too, because you don't have to keep changing equipment. Now let's talk about offset real quick, because I want to make sure offset grip is understood. If I'm doing, say for instance, a chest press on the floor, I'm going to take my left hand, and it's going to go on the extreme left side of the steel hose. My right hand's now just about 3/4 of the way. So I have all this extra weight on the right. I bridge up. This is only a 15, but lower and push. You can make it more of a thruster where they punch it. Okay. And with the 20, they're going to get more. Now, these go all the way up. You can customize them all the way up to 50. On the site, you'll see 40 up to 40. But you take a 40-pounder for most, not your big boys, they're going to get it because you tax it, as you all know how to change that up with your speed and your tempo. But just make sure they're not just dropping and then punching. It's pull, push, pull, push. Okay. Then you can take them up and do chest flies here, open up. Now they've got that anti-rotation element up here, and they can't let go of that lower lumbar can't start to sink. So they're turning on the hydraulics through the glutes and the lower abs. And even when it comes to, say for instance, I do a lot of tall kneeling, because I like to get my athletes out of that hip hinge position. They tend to be really tight in those hip flexors. Here, say for instance, you just do, I'm just going to go super light just to show you guys. Say you want to do tricep extensions, right? If they start in the middle, it's not that difficult. But I get here all the way at the top, it's a whole different ball game. Because when I take the butt of my hand up, now it's pointing straight back.
Yep.
So you could, instead of people having to switch out equipment, that's what I love about that. Just change the grip. Even if it came to like a bicep curl, if they had tens, for instance, take the shoulders out of it, keep the upper arms against their sides, and look how much more drag I'm going to have if I'm grabbing at the very top. Now it's at the very bottom when I get to the top, and more resistance on the way down. And again, you do that tall kneeling, half kneeling, whatever you want to do, or standing. You can challenge it either way. Take that ground force away, put them on their knees. So there's tons of things you can do with it with the offset grip. If they're doing an overhead press, you have a 15, even with your big boy. If I'm here, or put it way back here, going straight up, controlling, still keeping that elbow straight out, it's so much harder than way back here, which I could be all day long. It slows them down. I know if you guys are like me, I can't stand always having to say, harping, slow down, slow down, slow down. And they're looking, they're like, but I'm trying. You want them just to be able to have fun and get through the movement. You're correct in the form, but if we can slow them down, that'll force them to slow down. They don't have a choice if you do it that way. So just and what I like too is you can do quick combos. So even say you do a Zercher hold, you do a squat, pop it up, you got it. You have to grip here.
Wow. That's cool.
So the best thing is take the hose one day, any weight, and just play around with your classic moves and see how much more you can do. For instance, say you want to do explosive power moves. Women especially, the snatch, they don't know how to weave that hand through the kettlebell. They really struggle. Or as I'm sure you all fight where people have the weight way out in front instead of literally zip. I'm always like, zip up your suit. It's a scuba suit. Zip up the scuba suit. You're here. Pop those hips. Let the lower body do the work. Women can handle that so much better. And also, a lot of the women are not comfortable with barbells. They get intimidated. And I'm like, okay. So if I put it back rack mode. But I want you all to notice, I do not have this on my neck at all. It's on the back of the shoulders. So from there, it also gets them to wrap around, lift the chest, drop the shoulders. So any movement they're doing, whether it's lateral lunge, curtsy squat, regular squat, chair pose, challenge them any which way, you can do that. The walking lunges, the lunges are great. Mix it around. You've also got single shoulder, front loaded. It could be here. You could do that. Zercher, side hip. I do a lot of side hip for side planks, hip drops, punch back. Then they don't have this hard steel on their body. It's comfortable. And again, it's not stable. So it's going to, they have to adjust for that. So they're not always using those large muscle groups. And it's going to force their balance to break down if they're not in perfect form. Now I'm throwing so many different things at you all at one time. So please stop me.
Well, it's going to be my next question. Actually, today was, very helpful because we pride ourselves on being group personal, meaning that we do a lot of customization within the workout. And I told the people that would be on here today, I said, this will help you come up with something besides just a plank, if somebody can't do an exercise, right? But also I know Cam was nodding his head a lot with different exercises he could put in the programming. And beyond that, I know that you personally have created, quite a few video references for Fitfighter. What's that link? Since we've covered so much today, but then we can have a good resource going forward that we can.
So a good link. In fact, while I just silenced my phone, it was Sarah Apgar. What I want to do is talk to her, because you can get into there is a 500 movement library with Fitfighter. And I know Travis, she could do like a Journey 333, like franchisee, whatever, access for a minimal fee, because I think it's like $10 a month. Like you have full access to the library.
Okay.
I think it's something like that. And let me write a note on that. Also, within that, I know for right now, she's offering a deal on the annual membership, which is typically $60 for the year. And right now, that'll also give you access to a lot of classes that have already been pre-recorded on demand. And what I do is sometimes, we're so knee deep daily writing our programs. Sometimes it's nice to take a break. You'll see a program and then you customize it to your favorite moves, but you can follow that template. So there's a lot of on-demand that's already there.
So this, like on this site where it says training, this is the free stuff, right? This is if you go to training.fitfighter.com, there's some stuff that's in there. Like, I don't know if when I click on it, it's going to ask, it says start a trial for some of this. And then
those are some of the pre-program training, like my golf, the couch to course, that one's a different fee. The 30-day programs are a different fee. And then I'm trying to see what else you've got going on there, but you should be able to access the library. And Travis, let me talk to Sarah about that, because the way a lot of things have been restructured as we've kicked off some of the 22 specials. And in total transparency, I want to know which one's where now.
Yeah, sure.
So I can do some diving in on that aspect on it.
Well, you've definitely given us some good stuff to chew on today anyway. I saw these guys, their heads were nodding, and I know I was getting excited. I like that sit through with the row. That was pretty cool. There's a lot.
Those are fun.
Very cool. I love how you're using it as a corrective. I love how you're using the imbalance to enhance the challenge. So there's some really cool stuff there. I'll definitely be sharing this recording with whoever couldn't make it today, which we have a few other locations. I'm sure they'll want to see it, but they'll get to see it through Cam, because he'll be it'll allow him today to throw some.
That's awesome. Well, Cam, and if you all have any specific questions on certain things that you're working with or clients, just don't hesitate to reach out to me. I love doing that. That's one of my passions. Is I know what it's like when you've got so much going on and you just need somebody just light a little spark under a new idea on how to use a new tool. It's more fun for you. If you all are as ADHD as I am, doing the same stuff over and over drives me nuts. So if I can find one little tweak or a different piece of equipment, I'm all over it. I love it. So please don't hesitate to ask Travis. If you don't want to reach out to me directly, let Travis know, and I'm happy to help out.
Awesome. Cam, any comments or questions as we're hopping off or as we're transitioning into the next thing?
Yeah. So real quick, how sturdy and durable are these things? I know they're made of Fitfighter, but like if we were like slamming them around against like the floor or something, like, I don't know, like people take a hammer to like one of those big tires, how would they, sure. There's no chances of them like busting open?
No chance of this. I mean, I can't tell you how many, I wish this would show you. I've almost worn this off. Driveways and parking lots. We're doing slams, we're doing chops, we're slamming the ground as hard as we can. I've got the men doing that. We're dragging them with the grommet and the carabiners. We're turning them into sleds with the belts. Mm-hmm. So we'll drag with the sleds. So you cannot hurt it. In fact, since we've been making the steel hoses, we've only replaced one steel hose, and the grommet fell out because someone ran over it with a truck. And I don't mean a truck, I mean a dually.
Wow.
So you've got 100% warranty on it. If something goes wrong, you're going to get a new one. But I haven't experienced it. You know, when we first started out with, you know, how you go through about 9 prototypes, the first prototype, I'm going to try to find an old one and see if I can give you an example. It was learning how much we had. This one isn't even that bad, but some of them to where they were settling in. Yeah, this one isn't as bad. There's been worse where it drops off like a V. So it got really tough because I always do a lot of the overhead walks to get them stabilizing that shoulder. If that ever happens, she's always replaced it immediately. Wow. But we really haven't had much problem with that in the last 2 prototypes.
Yeah, because we are huge fans of slams, chops, anything like that. And I can't tell you jam balls and slam balls we've gone through over the years that just break. So that's awesome.
And the other thing is those silly sand bells. I used to use the sand bells all the time. Then you'd have dust and sand everywhere on the slams. You don't have any fear of this with the steel hose. I'm loving that aspect because I love like the rainbow slams here. They have to squat up over slam. We'll slam all day long. And usually we're outside in the parking lot when we're doing it. Yeah. So yeah, no problem.
Well, that's a great thing for us all to know. That is because, you know, I mean, if somebody's like, hey, what's one piece of equipment that I can get for my house that's going to last me a while or whatever? I mean, you know, because people want stuff that lasts. And that durability feature of that is super important. So that's
well, that, and it's not going to hurt hardwood floors. It's not going to hurt any other surface too. Like other surfaces can't hurt it. I had a long talk when I was up at Summer Strong up in South Carolina, and I was meeting with this the strength coach for the Gamecocks football team, and we were talking about doing team building drills on the turf. Well, you know, you drag a kettlebell enough time and some of these rubber-ended dumbbells on the turf, it's going to pull on it. It's going to damage the turf, and the steel hoses don't. So they want to do stuff where they could do a sprint, get to like the 50-yard line, and these big guys had to do full body movements and then drag it and then go back to a sprint, everything else. So if you want to do that and not either A, hurt yourself, or B, hurt the flooring, this is your answer. And I love it because you can just give people 1 or 2 pieces of equipment. And you guys, if you're especially if you've got to go somewhere else, if you're going from inside to outside, you don't want to be taking 5 pieces of equipment. You just take a couple hoses and then you just do that offset grip. You mix it up, you challenge it in different ways, and you can go into flows with it versus having to switch out equipment. It's really, really been a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, I know you know this lady that just popped on to give us.
I was going to say, look at that hottie in my bottom right-hand corner.
Gary, so I heard your voice before I saw your face, and I was like, God's good graces are raining on me today. Every day I ask God to show me something that he has created that's amazing and beautiful, and today you're it.
Oh, you're the best. Thanks, Brandy. How are you doing?
Yesterday it was a like 14-point buck in my backyard. Today it's Carrie Armacost.
Oh, who's better? Is she
what do you think? She's as agile as a deer. I mean, you know, look at her. She's jacked as can be. I mean, my God.
Oh, that's
I'm
awesome.
glad I wore a shirt with some sleeves on it since I got to be on this
stop
call
it.
with her. Yeah, look at you show off over there, Cam.
We had her
Yeah,
working. We
that's
had her
awesome.
sweating through this one. Yeah, she was.
Yeah,
Well,
they did.
it doesn't
And then,
get
of course, our
better. So,
pros.
did you guys go through a Fit Pro training session? What
No,
happened?
we're just getting exposed to some of the exercises that we can be putting in our programming, because I know that Sarah would like to sell more Fit Fighters. And I said, for our coaches to just know how to customize things more, and for us to obviously sell more, we would have to have it as something that we're programming in regularly. So that was just giving us some ideas today, straight from the source, the one that's doing a lot of videos. So we appreciate you, Carrie. Thanks for.
No, that's fine. And Travis, seriously, reach out anytime and let me know, because it really is like we did today. And that was just such a quick run through of just a microcosm of samples of what we can do with it. But especially if you're really having a hard time getting people that are trying to do some of that explosive powerlifting, but their form is way off, the steel hose is great at teaching all of that.